I still just see Michael and John. I don't see Mark. I don't see Dave. I don't see Bob yet. And I see 6:59. All right, I still just see the three of us, right? Michael
At
and
least
John?
it's a quorum, but yeah, that's all I see. Oh, there's Mark. He just came on. No picture yet, but
Oh, there he is.
Hello.
there
Hey,
you are.
Mark. All right. Well, it's just you were sliding in just before the clock strikes 7. So,
Yeah, I'm having spotty internet tonight, so.
oh, I hate when that happens.
You and me both.
Yeah. All right. Well, the clock on my PC has turned to 7 o'clock. I assume everybody is seeing the same thing.
Yep.
So with that, oops. Hopefully we don't have too much background noise here. With that, I'd like to. Are you guys ready, Allison and Alice, on the technology side? I see the recording button is on.
Yep, we're all set.
Yeah, this is Dave Frankel. Also, I'm here.
Hi, Dave.
Hi there.
All righty. Okay. All right. Well, it is 7 o'clock. I'd like to call to order a regular meeting of the Brookfield Inland Wetlands. Today is. There's somebody on. If you're not speaking, perhaps you could just put yourself on mute, please, or we may have to. There's some background noise. All right. Again, just if everyone could just be mindful of that. Today is Monday. Today is Monday, the 14th of December, 2020. My name is Sharon Fox. I act as the commission chairman. With me tonight, the other commissioners, Mr. Michael Neustadt, Dr. John Donovan, both are regular members. Mr. Dave Frankel, who is an alternate, and Mr. Mark Mulvaney, who is the commission vice chairman. So there are 5 of us, and everyone will be a voting member tonight. So again, I think most of the noise, if your extension kind of ends in 533, again, we're seeing a lot of some noise from both of those. There's 2 phones, 533 and 928. Again, if you guys are not actively speaking, just put yourself on mute if you wouldn't mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm 3928.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
All right. Good luck, Dave. Okay. Also with us, again, the noise went away. Thanks, Dave. Again, just unmute yourself when it's time to contribute. Also with us tonight is Allison Kennedy, who is our recording secretary, and Ms. Alice Dew, who is the Wetlands Enforcement Officer. So again, we'll start with wetlands enforcement. I see we've got one thing on the agenda, and then I see there was an email late this afternoon, right, Alice?
Yes. Yep. The email from Ari about 58 Old Grace Bridge is primarily that he is going to court with the environmental company beginning of February. So that was his news. The other 2 new issues were 227 Wisconsin, which is Brookfield Market. Michael had reported to me that there was garbage along the bank, and I spoke to the fellow who's in charge of maintenance around Brookfield Market, and he responded quickly by emptying the dumpsters. And this past weekend, they all went down apparently and cleaned up all the large garbage. There was some shopping carts, and people are dumping in the back. It's kind of an interesting situation because back there, it's not their property. It belongs to AJ Tuck. So they can't put up a fence really to stop the dumping. But what Mahmood is going to do is put up a temporary, like an orange fence, because he doesn't think they'd have a problem with that. I don't know the owners, nor does he, of AJ Tuck. So we'll have to see how it goes as far as if more garbage reappears. But I asked them, I told them if they could clean it up by today, they needn't show up at the meeting. So they did get everything cleaned up.
That is kind of annoying. We used to see that all the time in zoning. I mean, poor business owners, you know, they're doing what they're supposed to do, and somebody comes in the middle of the night and is terrible.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes going forward. We'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, well, I'm glad they, well, again, I know you did give them a big thank you for getting right to that, so.
Yes, thank you much.
Sure. The other issue that came up is 132 and 134 Long Meadow Hill Road. There is Hop Brook Swamp is back there behind those two properties and behind a lot of other properties. And the height of the pond, or really it's a swamp, is determined by the outflow that's between these two houses. In the past, there have been, well, Roger Prinz is here to speak about the history of it because he has lived there for a long time. And I think he's here, Mr. Valente. Yes, Mr. Valente is at 132 Long Meadow. So it was my understanding that Mr. Valente and Mr. Prinz both came to us in July and said that Mr. Valente's property was being flooded and the septic system was in jeopardy. So the two of them talked. It was agreed that Mr. Valente would break down some of the beaver dam and let the water flow and the level go down because it had rained quite a bit. But it got a little bit out of hand and too much water has now left the swamp and the water level is extremely low. So that's one of the issues. The other issue is that Mr. Valente has removed primarily invasives that were there on his property, but also some trees that are within 75 feet. He was unaware that he needs to get a permit for that. So now the question is, what do we do to remediate the situation?
Okay. I didn't get a chance to look at any kind of a map. I did appreciate your description here, but I'm not sure I have a really good visual of what, you know, of what was changed. I remember something in your email about the stream course was altered.
Yeah, it used to flow more north across Roger's property. But when it was cleaned out, Mr. Valente cleaned on his side. So now the water flows that way, a little more south than it had previously. Also, Mr. Prinz has marked, he knows basically where the water level is when it flows through the northern channel near his house. He's on there if you want either him or Mr. Valente to speak.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was thinking. I don't know if there's any particular order. We could go alphabetically. You know, maybe Mr. Prince first or Mr. Valente. And then I hear Mark's got a question.
I think typically we allow, I would think we would allow the, I don't want to call them accused, to voice their facts first. Not typically how we do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be Mr. Valente.
So in this case, I believe that would be Mr. Valente.
Yeah. I'm really, for me, I'm neutral, as I'm sure there's a couple of different, there's ways to look at it, whether one goes first or the other. I don't particularly care, but I'm fine with that. Mr. Valente, you want to tell us what happened?
Yes, I never cut any tree behind the house. The stumps that you guys see there, it was cut with the previous owner. It wasn't me. It was already there. I cut 2 trees on the front of the house. That's when we had the storm and the tree was bent. That's when I cut it. But behind the house, I never cut the tree. The only thing I did there, I don't know how that called, those long weeds that grows next to the water. Every winter they dry out and they die. So at the summer I put them down. That's the only thing I did there. But all the other stumps that you guys see there, you can go there. It's old. It wasn't me there. I never cut any tree. The only thing I did there was a cleanup on my yard. So with the water, I opened up the street, but I didn't mean to dry out the water. It just happened. I think I went too far. But after my neighbor spoke with me, I told her I was waiting the beavers to come back and do their job so the water can go up. But unfortunately, they never came back because since that, I never touched that again. So if they want to show me the level of the water, it's fine for me. I just don't want the water go on my yard like it happened the last time. That's about it.
Where is the proper line, yes, with the wetland? You need to know about that.
And I need to know where the wetland there is. If somebody can go there and show me where I can put my hands on and where I cannot do it, because I never did anything there on purpose. I just didn't know about it. I'm so sorry about that.
Okay. Do you have a map, Alice, of this property?
Yeah, I put it in the letter for you, Mr. Valente, when I dropped it off.
Yes.
That shows the wetlands are the little grass-like things. And upland review area, that big piece in yellow that I marked off. Anything you do there, you need to get a permit for.
You get a permit for? Okay.
Yeah, and
The land.
just give me a call. We can go over what you can do.
Can you
As of right, you can see it on
can you stop by there sometime, or is it too much to ask?
No, I'd be happy to.
Okay, this way I know, you know what I mean? I don't want to, yeah, I don't want to trouble or anything like that. It was out of hand.
All right.
But, I hope the beavers come back and bring the water up so my neighbor can be happy.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Valente, I'll say, just looking at a aerial view of your property, where the wetland is, and I used to live on that hot brook, to your deck off the back of your house,
Okay.
that's all in the regulated area. So anything in your backyard, you need to get a permit for,
Anything.
other than mowing it. Other than mowing the existing grass.
Okay.
That would be a good baseline, assuming you don't want to have to pay a wetland scientist,
No.
to soil scientist to come out and figure out. It's a pretty clear defined edge there, like Miss Dew says. But anything in that backyard is regulated area.
Well, on the part they have just sand, you cannot cover with the wood chip, that way to make a garden there, because the grass doesn't grow in there. But the shed,
So where it doesn't grow grass, I can not do anything there. Put a mulch there or a wood chips or.
Mark, I said, I'm still, excuse me, Mr. Valente, I'm still a little, I said, I don't know this property. You don't happen to have that GIS handy, do you? Maybe you could just.
I
I don't know. I don't know if that's asking. I might be asking too much.
The only thing I have, I don't know, you can't see from here.
All right.
which screen, I have it on a different.
Okay, well, don't make it too hard, Mark. You know, I said, I just saw the email, so if there are maps attached to that email that Alice sent, I didn't get a chance to look at them.
To be clear, I just pulled it up. I'm not,
Yeah.
it's not something Alice sent me. I just pulled it up.
Oh, okay. All right, well, I feel like I need to sort of get a map. So, like I said, I don't really have a good idea of, what this property looks like, Mr. Valente. I just don't.
I have the map, but I don't understand the map. That's all about it. Yeah,
Hey, Alice, you sent us a picture as well. Could you tell us where that is? Is that Mr. Valente's backyard?
The map that he's holding up, the yellow is the upland review area, and then you can see the rest is water and wetlands. This house is the pink.
But I'm referring to the photograph of where there seems to be tire tracks and a pile of mulch.
That's in the upland review.
Okay, but that's in his backyard?
Yes.
Okay.
the wood chips, it's on the grass. Is it a problem with that or no?
If they're in the upland review area, yes.
How do we know?
Yeah, that I need somebody to go there and show me, because looking at a map, I don't know where the review area is. That's the problem.
Yeah, I'd be happy to meet you there.
All right. Yes, if you can, yes.
All right. So, I mean, just in general, Mr. Valente, I mean, what I am kind of be interested in is trying to restore, restore the area to what it was like. Either it sounds like before this beaver dam, was removed, and whatever else happened. I don't have a good mental checklist here. It's going to have to be restored. And in general, I don't think I know what that is. Alice, I don't know. I know you've talked about some generalities. I don't know if you have some specifics, but that's going to need to be on an application, which will describe these restoration activities. That will come in front of the commission. That will get, reviewed by the commission. We'll make a decision on it, and that would be part of a restoration plan, which is how we get to remove the violation. So that's sort of like the general process that we have ahead of us for this.
So I'll meet with Mr. Valente, go over some of these things and let him know how to apply
Okay.
for permit.
Now, does Mr. Prince have any, you mentioned him, Alice, should we, and he's here, should we give him an opportunity to
Sure.
provide some input here? And he's the guy, you're on the adjacent property on the downside of the stream, is that?
I'd be on the north end of the swamp. You hear me?
Okay, so you're on you're on a higher elevation or a lower, just to help me.
Would be a higher elevation than the swamp, yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay, and my main issue is that back in the 80s, there was a spillway built by the town that satisfied both properties. And it kept the swamp up, so I had, all the animals could be happy. And now with the water level down, it's a gigantic mud flat, and I'm concerned for the winter time for the hibernation of all the animals.
Mm.
And I haven't seen a duck in, since the swamp got drained.
Okay.
So I don't, I understand that the water shouldn't go up onto his property. Unfortunately, most of his property is in the wetlands and in the upland review area. So I get that he's unhappy with the situation, but the swamp has been there forever, and I've lived here for 50 years, and I've never seen it this low.
Okay.
When the large truck was stuck in the wetlands area on Friday, it was about all I could take.
I'm sorry, would you say a large truck?
Yeah, the truck that brought the wood chips into the wetlands area, he was driving on the backyard, And I know that's where his septic system is. So it was extremely concerning to me.
Okay.
I believe if we could get the swamp back up to the spillway elevation, I talked to the James Doctor, who's with the Public Works, and they would help us to remedy this situation. That's where I stand.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you for that input. All right, well, that is, so I think, Alice, that's where, I think, like, and I appreciate that input, Mr. Prince. So I think, Alice, we get out there, maybe help Mr. Valenti with where the wetlands are, helping maybe with understanding how that map works. And then we're going to need a, you know, a plan, sort of like a plan that would describe the before, you know, and then a restoration plan, which would be the, you know, the to be plan. That would be helpful for me.
Okay, what about the immediacy of raising the swamp back up? Could we get Public Works out there to fill in what was dug out and channelize it back to where it was? It really just needs an old beaver dam to be, some of it to be taken out, moved over to the other spot.
If the town can help with the immediate issue, that would be splendid.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
that would
I'll
be
talk to
splendid.
Public Works about that. And
Yeah. And then
Roger
We'll let you deal with the legalities and stuff.
yeah, I don't know. I said, I don't know enough about, as Mark is alluding to, who has what rights to do what on what piece of property and how. That I don't have any idea.
okay, I'll talk to everyone involved.
Yeah, they may need to. And then that'll also, I said, so that'll, of course, we got a snowstorm coming up and Christmas and New Year's. So, but I will try and get out there.
An
I said,
electronic meeting.
what's that, Mark? Mark, were you trying to?
Said I would ask for her to at least, I would like to be kept posted. I know she can't notify us all because we can't have an online meeting, but I'd like to be kept apprised of this, please.
Yeah. Yeah, I said, I'm gonna get out there. I said, I can see, you know, Mr. Valenti was kind enough to hold up a map, but I still don't have a good, I personally don't have a good visual of what happened, you know, and, or even exactly what needs to be done to get things back to where, you know, where it needs to be. So, and I don't know how much I'll be able to see in the snow here in the next, however long this snow lasts. Nobody has any pictures, right?
Did you see the picture that was sent?
No, I didn't. I said I was working all day, Michael, and I just flashed that email. So no, I didn't.
I'm looking at it.
Okay.
It shows where a truck was obviously stuck, some deep ruts, a pile of chips. I would ask Mr. Valenti what the purpose of the chips were, where they were going to be spread. Obviously not on the grass.
Mr. Valenti, are you still with us?
You're on mute.
Can someone let us share our screens?
I've got the picture on a different computer, so I can't share.
Allison has the capacity to share.
Okay.
Mr. Valenti, you're on mute if you wanted to talk. Oh,
So
Yes.
my question was, where were you proposing to spread these chips that are piled up?
I was gonna spread up where I have no grass here.
Was
And-
that part of the original swamp?
No, it was not.
Okay.
That's on the edge of the wetland, definitely in the upland review area.
Oh, it's
That
clearly is, yeah.
Are they all spread, Michael? I mean,
No, it's a pile. When
All
was
right.
this picture taken? Just recently, Alice?
yeah, on Friday.
Okay.
all right.
Here, let me try.
There may be one more thing. I said, and these meetings are hard to do here remotely. We're going to ask you not to do anything else to the property.
Okay.
Anything. Please don't cut a bush. Don't cut a tree. Don't spread those wood chips. Please
Okay.
don't do anything. Sort of freeze everything till we can, you know, go down the process of, like I said, identifying as best as possible where the wetlands are, and then again, as what the property looked like, and then I said what we're going to have where it is today. We have some pictures, and then this application, which is going to get us, I said, probably back to restore this area to the, to the process it is. And we'll have to think about, I said, I think we're all sensitive to the fact, you've got a home, and so we have to be mindful of that. But we've always been able to find a way that's good for the wetlands and good for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, for any rain that we have, it's gonna bring the water up as long as that stream is closed. But the beavers never came back. That's the only problem. And I didn't mean to dry that out. I never meant to dry that out. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I just opened up and it broke the whole tank, and all the water came out.
Okay. Well, I said,
And
we'll
Mr.
find
Valente,
Yes.
when you disturb the dirt, around this, and that's why we don't disturb things in the upland review area, that all goes right down into the stream, just like any chemicals that could be in these chips goes right into that brook and can kill any of the
But the wood chip it's far from the water. It's on my grass. It's not even close to the wetland where those long.
Water goes downhill when it rains or when snow melts.
I can remove them.
I don't think we want Mr. Valente to do anything right now. Let's just
No, we want
freeze
Mrs.
everything where.
Alice to coordinate what's happening at this point.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
In a permit.
Okay.
Right. So again, we're headed for an application. So again, be thinking about, like I said, we're going to be trying to get it back, like I said, for the stream, the wetlands, the fish, the animals. We're going to try and get it back that way. And we're going to find a way, like I said, that it's not, a disadvantage for your home.
Okay.
Again, if you've got a backyard that's mostly wetlands or an upland review area, there may be some compromises you're going to be facing.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let me ask, I said, my colleagues or Alice, anything else we should talk about? Do everybody feel like we know the way forward here?
Yeah, I'm clear.
I'm clear.
I understand,
Yep.
obviously time is of the essence, but needs to be done right.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. If there isn't anything else, we're going to move on.
Excuse me, Karen.
We have another. Yes.
Hi, this is Lisa Prinz.
Yes, Lisa.
I just wanted to say that we hope that we can get this resolved and be neighborly and just preserve the wetlands. I just wanted Mr. Valente to know that we just want to see it resolved, and we want to be cordial neighbors.
Yes. I'm
Okay?
here. Yes. I told you, I never thought since you told me to bring the water up. I never thought, but the beavers never came back.
I know. Well, hopefully we can get it all resolved and just move forward.
Yes, no problem for me.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Ms. Prince. We appreciate that very much. Thank you for that. All right. Well, I think we can.
I just need to know when she's gonna come, or
I'll give you a call tomorrow and you can
because
find a time.
I work till 4:30, but my wife and my father-in-law can be there with you, or you need me to be there if I'm not there.
That should be fine. Other people are fine. I can show them, how to
Oh,
the
okay.
application and where things are.
Okay.
So I'll call tomorrow and we can set up a time.
So I can give you my wife's phone number, so you call straight to her.
Yeah, give me a call in the office and leave that number.
Okay. I'll call you tomorrow.
Thank
Or you can call, yeah, you can just call me and then I'll call her. It's easier. I'll wait for you tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Miss Alice.
Okay, so we will, for now, we'll leave this on leave it as an agenda item on the enforcement officer's report. We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there until such time, which we hope will be shortly. We'll have an application. So, and I said, if there's anything that, Mark or I as officers, can do with the town, to try and get some, sort of stopgap measures, you know, in place for that dam, just let us know. All righty, so that's one. Was there a second one, Alice? We talked about that. That was the mark.
Right.
All right. Okay, so Mr. Valente, Mr. and Ms. Prince, will let you guys go if you, or you can stay if you wish. Again, I always tell everybody we're better than anything on TV.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right, everybody. Thank you. All righty. So like I said, we don't have any site inspection reports. I make a note, we do have an agenda item for a public hearing. We do not have any public hearings tonight, so I think we can move on to, let me just jump back and forth. Anybody else, back to my colleagues for enforcement, anybody else see anything in town they want to bring to Alice's attention?
No, I didn't see anything.
Just jump back to that. All right, well then we'll go to old business. That proposed current maintenance plan, again, that is on my list of things to edit. I see there was a minor edit. I still think we could be a little bit clearer. I said I have just been jammed with work and I haven't had a chance to do it, but it looks like things are going to free up for me. So I will get to that I said, make an editing report. And I said, the good news is they're not mowing now.
Right. I don't think it's urgent. You know, we got a couple of months and I appreciate the legwork you're doing on this.
Yeah, like I said, I've just simply been slammed at work, but that is on my list of things to do. So, we'll just leave that there as a note for me to get busy and get it done. That's going to take us then to, we've got 11 Old Turnpike. That was that in-ground pool that we took a look at 2 weeks, was it 2 weeks ago? And I think, and I said, as a part of the process now, it's a lot harder to get these applications complete. Let's just take a look at that one. Is there anyone here from 11 Old Turnpike?
I don't see anyone.
I don't hear anyone. I don't know no one's putting up their hand or anything.
I live at 12A, as you know,
You
Old
do?
Turnpike.
Great.
Yeah, it's sort of diagonally across the street.
Okay. So let me just ask Alice, or anyone, did this get all filled out? What I'm seeing right now is not complete.
We needed some information pertaining to the disturbed wetlands.
Yep.
There was
Yeah,
a
we
soil
needed the
plan.
site data,
Yeah.
yep, we needed, and that's not filled, at least what I am looking at, they have not had the opportunity
I
to
agree.
complete yet.
No, I gave them a list of everything you talked about at the last meeting and I haven't heard anything back yet.
Okay.
All right, so
All right.
let's continue
Sure,
this.
they're all.
Yeah.
Yeah. The good news is they're probably not going to be putting in too many pools here while we're getting, what are we getting, a foot or 18 inches of snow or something?
Well,
All right, moving on.
we have a decision date. I think they only have 2 more meetings before a decision. So hopefully they either ask for an extension or get the information in time for us to make an informed decision.
Right, exactly. Or we have option B too, or option C.
Right.
So I'll take a motion to continue.
I'll make a motion. We continue 5B, 11 Old Turnpike, number W20-44 to our next regular meeting.
Do I have a
I'll
second?
second it.
I'll second.
All right, I think I heard Michael first with the
Whatever.
second.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I know it's harder for you, Dave, when you're on and off mute. So, but I heard Michael second. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimous, 5-0. All right, next we've got 64 River Ford Road, renovating a footpath. So while we pull this up, is there anyone here from 64 or representing 64 Riverford Road?
Yes, I'm Pete Descala from Sunburst Landscaping.
Okay. All right, so I got the application up. You want to just tell us what this is all about?
Yes, so the property has a long, narrow piece that leads down to Lake Lillanoa. Currently, there's a really rough stone stepped path, if you want to call it that. It's defined, but it's really difficult to navigate, and the stones are all loose. So we're proposing to pretty much use the same footprint. Some of it's on the neighboring property, which we need to take away and get everything into their property, and rearrange it, rebuild it, using granite slabs for our steps, and a small 1/4-inch pea stone for the flat areas in between each step. Down below I believe it's a 210 line. We're proposing like a 20 by 20 pea stone sitting area, fire pit, and a 10 by 10 shed, all of which should be shown on the proposed site plan. We're also going to remove and replace the existing dock bulkhead. The existing one is way undersized and falling into the water right now. So that needs to be fixed, as well as preparing for a future new dock to match same dimensions as the existing.
So what does so on the dock, what does being fixed mean? Is that just going to replace this wood ramp and the wood dock and the concrete pad stays the same? What does that mean to fix it?
So we're gonna have a new dock built, completely new, as well as the concrete bulkhead will be completely removed and poured with new concrete.
Okay. So I'm just going to flip back to the application here.
So Pete, if may I ask a question, Sharon, while you're
Yeah,
doing that?
yep.
So Pete, Mr. Descala, below the 210, I'm not seeing any indication of trees being removed. Is that the case?
Nope, that is correct. So no trees
Okay.
below 210.
So even that cluster right in front of the bulkhead, that cluster of trees is remaining.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good.
Everything there is going to stay, and the current area, it's like all barberry.
Yeah, and I appreciate you're going to remove the barberry. Thank you. I see that.
Yep.
My other question is, the silt fence appears to me to be out of what would be where the bulkhead would be. So your bulkhead work is not inside your silt fence? Or am I looking at that wrong, maybe?
That's how CCA does have that drawn. It's pretty hefty drop off from there down to the lake bed.
I want it clear that the silt fence, even if you draw it in by hand and resubmit it to Alice.
Yep.
Or the office, I should say, the land use office, where that's accurately going to be in relation to that bulkhead.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely swing it around the concrete work.
And your path appears to stop when you get below the 210?
Correct.
Or does that path actually make it to your stone sitting area and all the way down eventually to the?
No, we're not going to put the pea stone. The plan is to have, I can have them draw it in. It'll connect to that pea stone sitting area. But
if you're going to do the work, we'd like it to be shown.
Yeah.
Yep. But the rest of all that area between the 210 and the lake, just going to be wood chips.
Are you building the shed down there?
Yeah. It's
What are you doing for a foundation? Just is it on a?
just going to be on a gravel pad.
Okay.
So two fine points about the application. Again, I'm looking at the application, and the application it just says renovate, align the existing footpath to a shed and a sitting area below we just talked. I don't see the sitting area below the 210. And the application doesn't describe what you want to do with that concrete pad. So I think we're going to want to update that.
The sitting area is on the proposed site plan. It's area.
I see them.
That is shown
Where is it?
Yeah, where is
all
it?
the way down by the dock.
I see the wood ramp. I see the concrete pad. I see an 8-inch oak. I see a monument. I see iron pipes.
You are,
Go to the proposed plan.
yeah, the
Oh.
proposed plan, page 2. I
Ew.
believe.
Ah,
Ah, there we go. Well, okay. No wonder.
That's
Thank
CCA,
you.
always trying to trick us.
There, yeah, okay, well, because that solves the second problem. Your path is not going to be on someone else's property. So that was another fine point that we had to make note of. Okay, all right, so the first one, again, I think the application just needs to be updated that you're going to be, I don't know if I'm so, I don't think it needs to be updated for the fact you're just going to be replacing the deck, because that's just a simple replacement of, I guess, a wood deck. But what is going on with that concrete pad needs to be in the application. Is there a construction sequence for this, Mr. Descala, someplace here?
Yes, on the left side of this current page.
Okay, oh, here we go, yep. So now you got remove the trees.
Yep, so all the trees that will be removed are above the 210 line, and you can see them on the proposed plan. They have an X through them. I believe there's 12.
counted 13, but I could be wrong.
1, 2, 3.
I was counting on the original. I think
9, 10, 11, 12.
You're keeping them on, Mike.
11, 12. You're right, it's 12.
12, okay.
Oh, they're all hemlocks.
Yeah, most of them are completely.
But those are all the,
I'm sorry, what were you going to say about the trees? Completely what?
The hemlocks are mostly dead.
Ah. Yeah, that was part of my, concern, because that's a tree that's under stress.
Yeah, these are definitely stressed.
All right, so there's 12 trees. Install silt fencing for construction plan in all down site areas. We're going to probably add a little note there that says call for inspection. Excavate areas to allow machine access from the top site to the lake area. Now, what does that mean?
Basically coming from where the path starts, following the dark gray shaded area, just removing the existing rocks and stairs that are there, just to allow a small excavator and skid steer to go down and bring materials to, we're going to start from the lakeside and go up. So I need a flat surface to drive down.
And you're planning to, your machinery is going to stay on your proposed path?
Correct. Yes.
you're just going to backblade your way out. Smooth
Well,
your way out.
We're going to be putting granite stairs in, so we're going to work from bottom to top.
How many stairs are you putting in?
There's going to be between 50 and 70 pieces.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a ways down.
Is the excavator going to go into the lake?
No, nope.
It'll all be done from the land.
Yep, everything will be done from the top side.
So what's the plan to demolish the bulkhead?
That'll just be broken up with a hammer on the excavator and put in the skid steer bucket and taken out.
Okay, do you have I said that's right at the water, right? How do you, anything goes in the water? Do you have a plan to get it out of the lake? Or the river?
Ideally, this will be done when the water's down. so nothing's gonna be actually touching the water.
You'll just have guys down in the lake bed picking
Yeah.
the small chunks up, throwing them up into
Exactly.
the bucket.
So you gotta you're putting forms in, right?
Oh, yeah, yep.
Okay, so it's demolish, remove the existing bulkhead, install the forms, or form, and there we go, for form and re-pour,
Let me check.
right? Means, when you just have the word form, I assume that means install the forms.
Yeah, form and pour, yep.
Okay.
Pete, could you do me a huge favor? One of my pet peeves, right in your early in your construction sequence, a daily inspection of the hydraulic hoses, fittings on the equipment, at least below the 210, and keep a spill containment kit down there.
Okay, yep, no problem.
Thanks.
So Alice, can you be sure that gets in the minutes? What Mark was mentioning about the spill containment?
Okay.
Thank you. Fire pit, begin reinstall the back inspection. All right. Well, that's too bad about the dead hemlocks. Is there any opportunity to replant some of these or something else? You're just taking out the trees here, taking out 12. Is there any opportunity to, like I said, it looks like it's a pretty steep slope, but maybe to try and replant some of these? You know, you're taking out 12. Is there any opportunity to put, 4 back in or something like that?
It's steep and the trees are growing out of rock and it's not ideal and it's really dense canopy. I would say if there's any opportunity with enough soil, it would be up towards the top part where it's less of a slope.
Yeah, take a look at that. I said, just take a look at that if you would. See if there's a way to squeeze in, whether they're hemlocks or some other native tree. See if that's possible, would you?
Okay.
Yep.
So maybe 4, if we can fit 4 somewhere along.
I'm kind of thinking 4. I mean, like I said, it looks like most of these are coming out, because of where the path is.
Yeah.
But, like I said, if there's anything that can be done, I mean, you're actually taking out, trees, which, I mean, even though they're dead, they are habitat,
Yep.
there are birds and animals that live there, even in the dead ones, candidly.
Yep.
That dead trees are important for the health of the forest, but, which impacts wetlands, right?
Yep.
You can have trees there, that slow down sheet flow before it goes into the lake. That's a beautiful thing. So yeah, take a look at, see if you can, like I said, get 4 of them in. Hemlocks are hard to come by. I mean, I would be, I would be, they don't have to be big. If you're looking at hemlocks, those can be smaller trees to give them a good foothold,
Yep.
or give them a chance.
If they need light,
that's-
I don't know if you're going to find a spot ideal for them.
Well, so I'm just asking them, take a look, see what could be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take a look at it and then we'll be back in 2 weeks, right? Or
Yeah.
meeting it.
Not 2 weeks.
Don't we have a meeting before the end of the year?
No, we don't. Our next meeting is
No.
January the 11th.
Oh, you're
Oh.
right.
Month.
Yep, month. Yep, you're right. Thank you for that. There it is, written on my minutes or on my agenda. So yeah, no, not this year. We'll be back January 11th.
Okay, that's no problem.
Yep.
Thanks,
Anything
Pete.
else? Mark, Dave,
Nope.
John? All right.
No.
I want a motion to continue.
I will make a motion. Oh, can I make that, Sharon?
Yep.
Make a motion, we continue 6A, 64 Riverford Road, number W20-46 to our next regular meeting.
I'll second it.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimous. All right. Thank you. All right. and
Okay, thank you.
got 82 North Lake Shore, rebuild a house, new septic system. Anybody here from 82 North Lake Shore?
Yes, hi, James Miner, All Phase Custom Builders. I will be the
All
builder of the project.
All right, great, thank you. Let's just take a look at this,
Evening.
take a look at the application here. Whoops. Let me just scroll back to where it was. Oh, good. Low. I like it. We got an old one. I love this. I love these. These are my favorites. So we got construction of a new 2,800 square foot house, 4-bedroom home with existing 2-car garage. So you've got total acreage of the properties, 1/4 of an acre, disturbed wetland. There is no disturbed wetlands.
No. Everything looks like they're above the 440. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So wetland property not area, disturbed, nothing, so no disturbed.
There was an existing home on this property. It got destroyed in the macro burst 2 years ago. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do know. I know this lot. Okay, so are we looking at the plans? Is that where you guys are? The plans of 12/02/20?
Yes.
All right. They're in the process of downloading.
So if I'm looking at this, Mr. Miner,
yes,
the existing foundation to be demolished and you're putting in select fill. So the new house is going to be further away from the lake than the existing foundation?
That's correct.
To include the deck will be also further away by a couple of feet.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The existing house was approximately where the new proposed septic tank is located.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's where the existing home sat.
Mm-hmm. So that's good. You're daylighting to a 5-foot by 5-foot stone pad for your footing drains.
And leader drains.
And the leader drains.
Yes. Yep.
So we'd like that noted on here. So have you had any expert design or size that 5-foot by 5-foot pad? Because the leader drains too concerns me. Is that footing drain picking up like a driveway drain as well?
No, I do.
This is I Miller. I'm with J. Edwards and Associates. We did the design on the lot. We are not doing stormwater detention for this lot or stormwater management because it does not meet the requirements for doing so. So that pad is sized as sort of our typical or standard size in order to make sure that we don't get any erosion heading down the hill.
So, okay, what size stone are you putting in? Is that detailed somewhere on here? It's tough on a screen. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that detail made it onto this plan, to be honest with you. It probably got forgotten.
I'd like at least a detail on it with some size of the proposed stone, the size of that drain going to it, and please note that it's not just a footing drain; it also picks up the leaders.
Alrighty, I'm just making a note now.
Yep. And that's the only outflow pipe, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I might be missing it. Is the heavy dotted line silt fence? Install silt fence. There.
Yes.
Yes.
Are you going to make that also that is the limit of disturbance?
Yes.
Could we note that either in the construction sequence or on the plan, so we don't have people going down beyond that to do anything? Would be great.
No problem.
So on that construction sequence, you talk about you got to take the existing foundation. You're taking that out. I assume you're going to bring in a big excavator to do that.
That was already done by the previous owner. They settled the insurance claim. They hired a contractor and demoed the house and foundation and and then just left it that way, and then decided to sell the lot and not rebuild. And so my clients purchased a lot with that are already taken care of.
Okay. So your construction sequence is you've got to dig a new foundation and
Yeah, we'll probably be starting to at least get the septic fill there first, because we won't have good access once the foundation is in. So our construction sequence will be that we will install the select fill, and then move forward with the foundation and so forth, and work our way out.
and the existing septic system is going to be abandoned, so you're going to leave any galleries that are there, you're just going to leave them there?
No, they get removed.
Okay, I don't know. I said I'm scrolling through the documents. Where's the construction sequence? Is that on which plan is that one on?
I don't know if we formally maybe have a complete construction
All right.
filed.
We can add one easily enough, Jim, onto the main plan if it makes it easier to do it that way.
It can be a separate 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, all the way to something you put on a plan. We're easy as long as you get it to us.
Right.
Very.
And you're going to have to bring in dirt for this? You got for this septic area?
Yeah, just to select fill, the C33 select fill.
Okay. Is there any landscaping that's going to be done on this property here, or or is the owner interested in any landscaping? Or you guys just going to grass over? Is the extent of your plan?
The extent of my plan is just seed and mulch at disturbed areas. Any further would be with the responsibility of the new homeowner with First Light and whatever if they want to do any plantings, well, if they're below the 440, obviously First Light. Anything above, nothing planned, not in my contract. Just the seed and mulch, any disturbed areas.
Okay, well, someplace either in the construction sequence or on this plan, if you could make note of that, you're going to, grass, and I guess you've talked about mulch someplace, if you can identify where that's going to be.
Okay.
Is your plan, is there a driveway here? So the garage is going to remain, right? That's right. So there's no asphalting or anything that's in process there.
No, that's why we're actually decreasing the water runoff by 6% from what it was, because the old house sat so much further down and they had a very steep driveway going down to the house. So
right.
All the water, yeah. So that's why it's an improvement.
Okay. All right, and the tracking pad is for your construction vehicles?
Yes.
Okay. Will you be able to store any of your construction material? Will you be able to store that all on the Candlewood or the North Lakeshore side of the property? Can you?
No, what we end up always doing on these is just because of our limited spaces, we actually take it off site and then bring back what we need.
Okay.
There's probably not going to be very much we're going to have to bring back due to the nature of the property and after the house foundation goes in. Just topsoil basically to stabilize the area and plant grass.
Okay, but all any soil that you've got to remove, you're just going to take it. If your construction sequence should accommodate, if you have to take soil off property, are you going to take it off as it's being removed? Do you anticipate having to store it there for a particular time? If so, if you could put those kinds of things in the construction sequence, they're of interest to us. Piles of dirt down by the lake can be subject to washout.
Yeah. That's where the septic is going. So by septic code, we can't pile material on top of a septic system area that we're going to scarify. So that's one of the main reasons we remove the soil as we go, and then we bring back.
Okay, again, those are the kinds of things that if you can just put them into the construction sequence, just makes it a lot easier for everybody.
Not a problem.
Okay. other than that, I don't see anything particularly, anything else particularly of interest on this point. Mark, you talked about the footing
No
drain.
trees you're taking down for this,
None,
are there?
none at all. Yep, the site had no trees on it, even when the existing home was there. Once the home was demolished, it's just an open vacant lot.
Just making sure.
Yep.
And maybe just one, Mark, I was looking at something. When we guys were talking about the footing drain to the stone pad, I know we were talking about that's not just, I mean, that's like riprap. How did that get sized? I mean, how do you know that 5 by 5 is right and it shouldn't, 3 by 3 isn't better, or 10 by 10 by 10? How do you know that's sized right?
As I said, that's our typical. It's big enough that it's usually oversized for most footing drains, given the amount of water that comes out. If usually during the design process, if we realize we're going to have to deal with something a little larger, we'll increase the size. But it's sort of a standard that we use in our office to make sure that it's plenty big enough in almost any circumstance.
Okay, well, again, in your construction sequence, just make note of that in terms of how you size that, if you would, please.
Indeed.
And I asked him to detail it on
Yeah.
a drawing or a separate
Yeah.
sketch or whatever. So.
Right. All right, I don't have anything else. Michael, Dave, John, Mark?
Nope, I'm good.
I think you've covered everything. Thank you.
Okay. Well, as you may have heard, this is our last meeting of 2020. We will be here on January 11th. Like I said, if you guys can get that to us, you'll stay on the agenda. You'll be as old business, and we'll see you next year.
Great. Happy
I
New
will
Year.
make a motion to
Yep.
continue 6B, 82 North Lakeshore Drive, number W20-47, to our next regularly scheduled meeting.
I second.
Second.
All right. I think I heard John second. So,
That's right.
all righty.
John speaks.
All right, guys. All right. Any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Well, the motion carries unanimous. All right. So now we're on to 15 Parkwood Drive. We've got another pool here, an in-ground pool. Is someone here for 15 Parkwood?
Yes, my name is Kevin from Nijam & Sons, representing the homeowner.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Let's take a look at your application here. 15 Parkwood Drive. Takes a second to open up here. Oof.
Is this an in-ground or above-ground pool?
In-ground.
And there's no material to be removed from site, so you're regrading with it? Is that what's?
Yeah, it's a little slope, so the material we take out, we're going to actually need it on the downhill side to kind of fill it.
Do you have a note in here somewhere about is this a backwash pool? Do we can't have anything going out into that upland review area?
Yeah, I see it in the application.
Okay,
No
good. I'm just
backwash.
looking at the drawings, so.
Yeah.
No material brought to the site or removed.
Where the heck is rotate on this thing here?
The highlighted 1,250 gallon tank, I'm assuming that's obviously the septic tank. I don't know why it's highlighted. You're not putting in a new septic tank.
No, it's the little black squares. They just put what that. Yeah. That's
okay. I don't know why it's highlighted. Just so you make sure to stay away from it.
Yeah.
Not drive over it, I guess.
Are there, Mr. Cohen, are there any trees that need to come down on this?
No, there's no trees in the area.
So what's there now? Is it all grass all the way to the property line, or?
There's dirt, basically kind of where the setback line is, maybe a little in front of it. It starts to get like some like dirt and brush.
All right. And I see there was a question about the tank. So there's this, oh, that's those little brown dots are the stockpiles.
Yes.
Okay. And how long does the construction sequence know how long those are going to be there? Are they just there for construction and then you're going to take them out, or?
Yeah, basically the topsoil pile will get spread out after, we're done, and the fill, we're actually going to need the other pile to backfill the downhill side once the build is done.
Okay. And the red is the pool fence. So the fence is about, I see you got the pool is 58 feet to the wetlands. The fence is what, about 50 feet? Maybe an 8-foot apron there?
Yeah. Yeah, and the downhill side might even be a little closer. It's only going to be basically a walkway on that side. So it's only going to be about 3 feet of patio.
Okay. All right.
So is that, when I look on the Google Maps, that playground is gone already or going away when you install this pool?
Yeah, it's gonna go.
I'm just trying to cite it in my mind here.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 1250-gallon tank that you've highlighted, the label in yellow, is that something you're installing or something that's there?
No, I don't know why. Yeah, it's already there. I don't know why they highlighted it. That's just
Okay.
where-
I just noticed it's outside the silt fence. Sorry.
Yep. Rather we
Is
both
there gonna
ask
be-
it than none.
Yeah, so there's pool equipment for this. Is that on this plan someplace? I got a heater or the,
Yeah, so the pool would basically be. It wouldn't be closer to the wetlands than the pool is. It's going to be on the side of it, kind of where the playground is, where he was looking. But it'd be about 10 feet off the pool, further from wetlands, to the right side of the pool.
Yeah, so that's even out of the upland review area.
Yeah.
We're talking about.
all right.
Yep.
So again, if you could, Allison, again, help us out and make sure that gets into the minutes that the pool apparatus, pump, heater,
Yeah, the
equipment.
thank you. That will be outside of, that way you don't have to go. If we were sitting in front of you, we would probably write it in. But we'll probably, probably want to include that in the motion. That way you don't have to go monkeying around trying to update this plan.
Okay.
I don't see anything jumping out at me.
Yeah, I don't either. Again,
Pretty
it's
basic.
pretty much, everything is pretty much, there's no trees coming down. There doesn't seem to be anything particularly remarkable on it, so. All right, well, again, this is new business. There's state statute, we don't make decisions on new business. It'll have to wait till the next meeting, which will be next year, January 11th. Other than that, I don't see anything, and none of us is really seeing anything particularly remarkable that would give, I'm not seeing anything that's going to give me pause.
I agree.
I agree.
I will. Oh,
Do you have any other
I can make
questions
them-
for us?
No, if not, I'll make a motion to continue 15 Parkwood Drive, number W-20-48, to the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Second.
All right, Dave seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimous. All right, thanks, Mr. Cohen. We'll talk to you next year.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, next we have 14 Merwinbrook Road, which is there's a shed here. Is there someone here from 14 Merwinbrook?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi. How are you? Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Just your name and address, please.
Yep. My name is Bill Wooden. My address is 81 Norton Street, Waterbury, Connecticut. I'm representing the homeowner.
Okay, great. All right, so you are installing a shed, disturbed wetland area, none, total wetlands 900 feet, nothing disturbed on the water courses.
Correct.
Oops, that's the wrong one. Just gonna All right, so I am looking at the plan, the proposed location of the shed. Whoops.
Yeah, and they actually called me yesterday, and they said we have another idea that may work better for us. What their idea is to take the shed where it's proposed now and just turn it 90 degrees and push it next to the garage, which moves it maybe 10 or 12 feet, kind of turns it to, a little bit of an angle. But the front of the shed would be facing the main house if we did that.
Okay, and that, do you have any dimensions here, if they're changing the
Yeah.
plan in terms of
It's
how
12.
far this is going to be? Because that's a little creek that runs there.
Yep. Yeah. So what we are is we're about 16 feet to the closest corner from the back, the closest corner to the shed to the brook. It's considerably higher than the brook. The brook's really set down quite a bit lower, 7-8 feet lower.
The famous
Than
Merwin
the proposed area. Merwin Brook, correct.
famous Merwin Brook. So what's there now? Is it grass or yard or trees?
Grass.
Or...
Yeah, grass. Yeah, grass. No trees at all there.
If you move 90 degrees, you are putting it closer to Merwin Brook, aren't you? A little bit?
No, it's actually about the same exact distance. I was out there yesterday and measured it up, and it's exactly the same distance.
I'm sorry, what was the distance from the closest corner of
16 feet.
15,
16 feet.
16.
Yep, 15, yep.
15, 15.
15, yeah, 15.
So, yeah, I mean, if they wanted to turn it, I'm fine as long as we said to be no closer than 15 feet to the Merwin Brook.
Okay.
I'm just scanning the
Just
application.
speaking to me, or asking that to the other commissioners.
I'm a little confused. You said something about moving it closer to the garage. Isn't the garage the furthest building that the driveway goes to?
The garage is correct. So, yep, the garage is the furthest back. If you see how the brook kind of makes it like an S turn there, the S, the building right there, and then it would just kind of just take that 12 by 16, line it up with the front of the garage, would be essentially the right-hand side of the shed, and the doors would be facing back towards the main road or the main house.
Okay.
What's the, I was looking through the applications, looking for the dimensions of this shed.
12 by 16.
Okay, I see something called floodplain designation, and there's 12 by 16, which I thought was unusual.
There's a couple of other problems with the application, just sort of, I think, misprints. You've checked that the property is within 500 feet of an adjoining municipality, and the traffic would affect another town, et cetera. I'm guessing these have been checked in error.
No, yeah, absolutely, no.
Unless Danbury bought the house next door, I don't think any of that.
You sell the Gursky farm?
Right.
Yeah.
No, that would be my mistake. I'm just looking through them right now, so. I see what I did. Okay, I apologize about that. I'll make sure I correct that.
It's minor. I'm sure you can correct it.
Yep.
And there's also the floodplain designation 12 by 16. I'm not sure I understand that, or was that just another error?
The floodplain there. I see.
Just
I apologize. I think that was the size. I apologize about that.
Okay.
12 by 16. I put it in there. That's the size of the shed.
That's the size of the shed, you know.
The footprint of the shed, correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So what kind of a shed is this? I mean, is it just going to be resting on concrete blocks, or?
It's actually, she's talking about turning it into some sort of she shed for either like a yoga room or a painting little room that she's talking about doing. So I have some concerns on if I just put it on gravel that frost is going to move it if she ever decides to do some type of finished doors or something on there. So I was going to propose that we put it on sonotubes, and that way there it kind of takes away any type of movement and so forth.
Would you have to dig a trench to bring water and/or power to the shed? That in the plans?
No, No, I will not.
All right. Alice, isn't normally on these maps, isn't normally the little green line, a wooded line? A line of wood and trees?
I don't know what's happened though since, well, let's look at 2019.
I'm looking at the Google map now. There's
Uh-huh.
not a tree there.
Yeah, and 2019 shows it's been cleared. I don't know when that happened.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I
All
have
right.
no idea.
But it sounds like, Mr. Miner, you still have a couple of conversations to finalize in terms of exactly where this shed is going to be located, which will then tell us the distance from Merwin Brook, and a final understanding of whether you're going to use sonic tubes or something else. Did I hear you correctly?
Well, I'm definitely going to use sonotubes when we set that on there. If she's going to turn that into any type of a finished room, just because I don't want to get the phone calls of the doors not opening and so forth, when she's using it, if she chooses to use it in the wintertime or whatever she's going to do with it.
And
so,
is this a prefab shed, or are you guys are you building something there?
What I'm doing, what I'm scheduled to do, or what I'm contracted to do at this point, is to build a base for whether it's the homeowner or whoever they're dealing with, to build the actual shed, put up the shed. I don't know if it's going to be dropped off on this pad that I'm going to build, or if it's going to be prefabbed. And then if there's any finish work when they're done, then I'll come back in and do any finish work at a later time. Who knows when?
Yeah,
so
Sharon,
my main purpose is.
I spoke to the homeowners and they're probably buying a prefab, they said.
Okay, so, all right, well, I just want to make sure the paperwork is correct. So this says you are installing a shed. I think that's what it said. You're just doing some kind of platform, I think is what you said.
Yeah, and then making sure that this gets through the whole, the wetland situation with you guys, and so that there's no problems for that. As like I said, as I'm just representing the homeowner.
Okay.
Actually, the application doesn't list anything.
Yeah, that's going to say I didn't find anything there.
Proposed description, proposed activity. That should say either build a shed or build a pad or what you're actually doing.
Yeah, that's kind of odd, isn't it? Where is that line? It just says
I understand what you're saying.
address. Yeah, it just says business address, and it just doesn't. And this is not for you. I said I don't even know where he would have put it on this application.
The top of the page, it looks like the third page, purpose and description of activity. And it's an area for describing what you're going to do. It doesn't say anything.
Well,
yeah, this
is
just a blank space. Well, I think we might be able to accommodate that. If you can, I said, I think what I would be interested in, what you've heard us talk about before, is a construction sequence.
Okay.
What you're planning to do, what you're planning to install. Again, we're going to ask you to update this, the map with a dimension, for the closest point on whatever it is that, this application is going to include, to the brook. And again, I would, particularly if you're going to be installing sonic tubes, you're near Merwin Brook, we're going to be talking about a silt fence.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll want to see that on the drawing. We'll help, we'll want to take a look at your drawing again and, plot out the appropriate place for the silt fence.
Okay. Yeah, I can do
that. With the dimensions of this project, whatever it is, and this is from the brook, and that might be it.
Okay.
Did we get an answer?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Alice, did we get an answer of what these green circles, lines mean on this map? Is it treed area? Is
They
it
usually mean
wetlands?
treat areas, but it looks like the trees are down from whenever that assessment was done.
So they're not, it's not current.
I think Mark and Alice were looking at Google Maps, which is probably about 2018.
Yeah.
I think is the timing.
Yeah,
on
and
that.
the GIS planometrics, depends on the property, but they can be a little old.
Yeah.
No, I kind of agree, knowing that area pretty well.
Yeah.
It's not very accurate.
All right, Mr. Minor, any questions for us? How did we do explaining the additional information we're seeking?
No, I understand completely. So I'll resubmit everything back in, and then I guess we revisit next month. Is that the?
Yeah, well, yeah, next month, next year, actually, January 11th.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll make sure that I figure out all the and submit all the drawings and get you all the exact dimensions and so forth to that, and then we'll go from there. They're not ready to do this right now, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, we're not trying to create busy work here. It's just a matter of we need to have written down on a piece of paper, exactly what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. So, it does require a level of precision such that I said, because when it's all done, we'll be out, or I'll also be out to take a look at, what happened and then match that to a plan. And we don't want any surprises. You don't want any surprises and we don't want to be surprised. So.
Absolutely understood.
Okay.
No problem.
All right. Well, with that, I'll take a motion to continue 14 Merwin Brook.
So moved.
All right. Mark makes it. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. I heard. Don't get Dave. We'll give that one to you.
Sure.
All right. All those in favor of the motion. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Sounds like motion carries unanimous, 5-0. All right. So our next agenda item, we've got 7 Oak Grove Road, a modification to the permit. Something about subsurface sewage disposal system. Someone here from?
Good evening, everyone. My name's Ray Flum. I'm the general contractor for this project. I'm representing my daughter and son-in-law.
Okay.
They're on the line also under Annalee Flum. And with me is Joe Grimes, the septic installer.
All right. Well, let's just take a look at the application here. And as soon as it loads, it loads. Oops. Oh, hey.
This is a
So
modification.
we got a modification.
This is the property we discussed at quite a bit of length last year. Is that correct?
We've got a modification to a 3-bedroom residence with a septic permit 19-21. Previous wetland application, October 7th, 2019. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
It's the property that the tree farm used to be on.
Right. All right. So total acreage, 6.5 acres, total wetlands, 3.5 disturbed wetland. All right. All right.
All right,
So
what are we modifying?
So what are we modifying? Can you guys help us out here?
Good evening. My name is Joe Grimes. I'm the septic installer. I live in Brookfield at 6 Horse Hill Road. And I've been a septic installer for about 34 years. And over that career, more than half my work has been in Brookfield. And what we're looking to modify is to move the line that in the area of disturbance line a little bit closer on the front of the house. When the current owners bought the property back in February of this year, excuse me, they had to get a letter for their bank saying that a septic system could be put in. And a septic plan was submitted in the past. And the sanitarian issued that letter that the area of the leaching area had excellent contours and excellent soils. He had some question about the tank location, because the tank location with gravity from the house became very deep, and that caused the fields to be deep, which was beyond the limit of what the septic code. So it became obvious it was going to have to be a pump up system.
Right.
So the logical place to put that septic tank and a pump chamber was on the other side of the house where it wouldn't have 5 foot of cover over the top of it. It could be installed with less disturbance. And later on in the future, when anybody had to maintain it or work on it, it was at a more conducive area to get to, and the disturbance would be less. So if you look at the new plan, I don't know if you have one with you. It shows the tank and the pump chamber in the front yard of the house. We did have to maintain 25 feet from the house because it's got footing drains. And that caused us to push out and move the area of disturbance a little bit further down. We've been hoping to get the septic system installed before the house. We've been working with the engineer since October, and then he had a problem with COVID for a while, so he couldn't produce anything for a while, and now we just got the plan. In my experience from time framing on working, sometimes we work all through the winter, sometimes we only get a very narrow window of opportunity to work, but it makes sense to put this septic system in before the house because you have less disturbance. So we want to get to this as soon as possible, and that's why we're asking for kind of like an emergency type approval of extending the area of disturbance down a little bit.
Are you saying the house is not built yet? Because I'm looking at the plan, it says existing dwelling.
And you have a improper plan. I think the first plan that was put out said existing, and then it was updated to the word proposed dwelling.
It's the
And
plan you gave us with this application, not you personally, but it's the plan we got with this as existing dwelling 4-bedroom. But what I'm looking at, by the way, in my mind, this is not an emergency approval. This is a modification of an existing, which does not need to fall under an emergency approval. That could be approved tonight, if possible. How far are you moving? Basically, you're moving the entire silt fence near this septic. You're moving it how many feet closer to the wetland?
well, we're up. If you go to the upper area where the leaching area is, there we're moving the silt fence down about 8 feet, and that's just so that we don't. The leaching area remains in the same location, but from a practical working standpoint, we're going to move the fence down a little bit. Okay, this septic system.
The fence to me looks like it's virtually the same distance moved everywhere. So you're moving it about 8 feet everywhere?
Maybe a little bit more down where the tank is. In the area, we're moving the fence, but not the area where we're going to work. We want to put the leaching area in the same place it was approved before. And it's about 8 feet down, all the way down to the front of the house.
Does this result in any more tree removal than we had agreed to the original permit?
So in the area of the tank, there's one evergreen that might be 7 feet tall, 2 oaks that are maybe 1.5 inches in diameter that are bending over. So really those are, they're very minor change there. In the area of the septic fields further south, there is a small row of dead evergreens because they were under a canopy and they died back. So they're not the 6 or 7 trees, are probably 2.5 inches in diameter.
Do we have anywhere, I know this is a well-wooded property, but do we have anywhere we could plant a couple of maybe 2-inch caliper trees, maybe 4 or 5 2-inch caliper trees to regain something? I know you're saying a lot of them are dead already, but can we make this a little better?
Obviously, there are thousands of trees on this property that could be transplanted and put in. I mean,
you have to understand the history of the property. This is a Christmas tree farm, so almost everything it was not native. It didn't grow through native means. It was all planted. And what has happened though is when they stopped cutting the trees, they filled in, and these are not the kind of trees that grow well in a cluster.
Right. I'm asking if we could put, some native trees, couple of native trees, oaks or red maples or something, just to plant some natural, native trees back into the area.
I'm sure that the family that owns it now is a 5th generation Brookfielders, and I'm sure that they're going to treat the property in a proper way that way. That's,
I don't think there'd be any objection to putting it, transplanting from someplace else on the property that's not in the regulated area and replacing those dead trees that are going to be removed.
That would help me. That would
Am
work.
I
for
off
me.
mute, Mark? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hi, I'm Jeff Murphy. I'm the property owner.
Hello.
We
Mr.
absolutely plan to plant trees. I've got about 50 grown in pots on the property right now. So we can absolutely add trees back in where they come out when we do the septic. There's going to be a ton of trees planted. There's probably the landscaping, there's probably going to be about 60 trees planted on the property. So
Excellent.
we're taking 7, but I'm giving a lot more than I'm taking.
I wish everyone was like you. And to be clear, I'm not asking you to plant them where the root structure is going to interfere with the septic or the fields or the tank in the future. That's not, got to be smart about it.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
No problem.
So other than that, it's basically putting a tank system, a pump system in, and you're relocating the line of disturbance 8 to 10 feet further towards the wetlands from what it was.
We can maintain the line of disturbance after the installation of the tanks are in. We were just looking to be able to put those tanks within that area.
Look, once you've towed it in, I'd rather not have you dig it up and tow it in again a few feet further in. That doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense to me either. Okay. I don't want to make you do work just to make you do work.
Okay.
Speaking for me.
If I remember correctly, we had asked the line of disturbance to be well marked with either concrete or metal.
I believe on the print that was along the driveway, because the driveway is several hundred feet long, and there are notes on the print that needs to be installed before your
pick up, Michael.
Yeah, in order to close the permit, we have to install 8 concrete monuments along the driveway. But we're asking for past the house, not along the driveway. We're not modifying anything with the driveway.
Okay, understand. I was just trying to remember what we talked about before.
Yeah, we have no idea what the board went through with the previous builder and owner. So I'm just gathering from the detail on this print. It was quite an extensive application, so.
It was more than 2 meetings.
Yeah. Yeah. So is there any, again, with the change in the tank location and your change in the location of the silt fence, is there any possibility that you're going to have equipment past any of these wetlands flags?
No, in fact, everything can be excavated from uphill of that. Absolutely.
Okay. Does your construction sequence identify that?
We don't have a formal construction sequence at this time, but we're going to sequence it from our experience. Then that's why we're talking about doing the septic first, because we know from experience that on a lot like this is how you do it to reduce your disturbance.
Okay, well, there is a construction sequence associated with this property. Can you guys take a look at that and make whatever appropriate modifications are necessary?
Certainly. I wasn't aware that there was one on file.
I'm sure. Yeah.
The sequence, as I recall, and I don't see it here, but the sequence, as I recall, did not detail you were building the foundation and then the septic. It was more of you will install the silt fence first and then call for an inspection.
Which we've done.
Then excavate, store soils in the soil stockpile area. It's that. It was nothing specific about a actual sequence as you're thinking about it, I believe. It's more of a following the guidelines to make sure that the permitting process, inspections, silt fence happen at the right time.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Which is all done.
I know there might have been some things. So I remember we were talking about, the number of trees that were coming down here. So I think there might have been some additional, I don't remember off the top of my head. There may have been some additional information about the numbers of trees. It sounds like you got to take, what would you say, about a half a dozen down?
So,
yeah, for the modification, yes.
Right, for the modification.
Yeah.
So the lot's already been cleared. We've already been in touch with Alice. We've already cleared the lot, installed the silt fence. So now we're just looking to move the silt fence. We're already into the construction process.
Yeah, and you're taking down a couple more trees, right, to do what you want to do?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You've taken down the trees already?
No, no.
Well,
Not,
no,
not the ones in the, Jeff, I'll handle this, please.
Okay.
Not in the area where we're asking for the modification of the fence line. We have not taken those trees down.
And nothing else outside of the original line of disturbance that we've agreed to
No.
via the permit?
No.
Okay.
All right, well, again, my ask would be, you can take a look at that. And if there's some appropriate modifications, some of the things that we've talked about, that needs to be updated to go along with this with your proposed modification here.
So specifically, you would like what?
Well, I think you're talking about, you're taking down some trees. I would like it to be proactive and state that, there will be no need for any construction equipment in any of the wetlands areas.
Okay.
We're talking about, can you guys take a look at, how many trees were you taking down? 4 or 5? And Mark had asked you to take
We were taking down 6 or 7. I'm not positive. They're so small and dead that it's something that would fall down soon anyway, but Mark had asked for several trees, maybe 4 to be added after, upon completion of the septic system.
Okay, well, great. Well, there's another item into the construction sequence. Okay. All right. They're taking down 6 or 7. And again, if the trees are, I think there are whatever Christmas trees still might be here or whatever. I mean, we're not interested, it doesn't have to be, trees that are, say, I don't know, less than 10 feet tall or something like that. I mean, we're interested in the larger trees. How many need to come down? And then what's your proposal to replace them? How many?
I mean, in reality, if you were to look at these trees, you'd say, yes, if they're 2.5 inches in diameter at the base, that'd be generous. But
Okay,
we wanted to make sure that you understood that they were there.
That's why we're asking the questions. We don't know.
Yep.
Okay. Because we don't know. So these kinds of conversations help us to know. So.
Okay. I'm taking notes. So.
Okay.
So I have down here that we're mentioning in that sequence that we're taking down several trees, that there will be no need for us to put heavy equipment beyond the proposed silt fence line.
Limit of disturbance.
Limit of disturbance. I am going to note the size and condition of the trees that are being removed, and 4 or so trees to be replacement trees. That's a good word. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you could include native in that.
Yeah. Okay.
Native replacement trees.
And also, you said you weren't aware of the construction sequence from the original application. If you could,
I was thinking more of, okay, the septic system is going in before the house, that type of thing. But Mark made it clear it was more the fact of installing the silt fence per the design and the stockpiling of the soil in the proper location.
It might be easy to take the existing sequence and just add what you need to it.
Yeah.
Send that to us.
I think that what you're talking about is that the silt fence all had to be put up before any work was done. That was done, and then the driveway was roughed in, and the soil was stripped in the area of the house and put in the stockpile area. So from a sequencing standpoint, it's been kept to the original order. I think we're kind of nitpicking on sequence of when you put the foundation in, when you put the septic in, and those usually are in whatever order makes sense on each site.
Right.
Right. Again, we're just asking for a
And this
modification.
site clearly,
Right.
clearly you want to work the septic before the house. That makes perfect sense.
Is it impossible to put it in after the foundation? No. But does it make sense from a practical,
now you're going to be
economic, and disturbance standpoint? Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
All
Exactly.
right.
All right. Anything else?
No, again, I'll just make mention, like I said, you may have noticed, we touched on it a little bit. The driveway for this property, maybe you've noticed it, it runs through a wetland.
Oh yeah, understood.
Yeah.
But that driveway has been there since Mr. Weidlich had these planted 45 years ago.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm just bringing it up, because not everybody, not perhaps, I wanted to be sure that you had an appreciation
Oh,
for.
no,
some-
absolutely. We respect that line.
We're sensitive to where
Yeah.
the wetlands is, and
Yeah.
we're just talking about a modification in the regulated area.
Right. Again, and that's why the monuments are there,
Will be there.
Will be there.
will be there. Yeah, that's why they were in the plan. So I just wanted to, I said, not everybody, when you're building a house, you got 10,000 things you want to think about. I just want to take advantage of the opportunity to.
Okay,
be
I mean,
sure
just
I knew
for
that
your own-
you knew that those were filled wetlands.
Yeah. For your own peace of mind, I was born in Brookfield. My father was born in my grandmother, but whatever. And I've been a builder in town since I was 16 years old. So, I appreciate this. I respect our town. And this is someplace my daughter and son-in-law want to live for the rest of their lives. So we want to do this so that everybody's happy. And obviously we need to respect the regulations as they're written. So.
Is this information that you need? Can this be done in an administrative way with Alice?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
No.
I would think so. Personally, I would like to give them the opportunity to put the septic in. To me, taking down a few dead trees, they're adding some trees in that are going to be alive and hopefully striving. Now, if they were to get this sequence into Alice before they start the work, would be my caveat. So if they've already put the silt fence in, Alice has looked at it once, they're going to move it. But before they do any of that, Alice would have to see the new sequence of construction that we're looking for. And I would trust Alice to initial that. And I think she knows what we're looking for before they start the work. That would be my.
I've actually been there. I was there about a week ago, and they showed me the new limit of disturbance line. They didn't tow it in because they wanted to come to you guys first, but just to give a visual.
Okay.
And I'm comfortable with that. And if we can make issuance of the permit contingent upon getting these extra steps added to the sequence.
Because to no one's fault, with us waiting 4 weeks till our next meeting, they've missed the opportunity to do any work they'd be able to do this winter. And then come spring, they're going to be building a house. And in my view, Mr. Grimes, you can tell me if I'm wrong, while they're digging a foundation and you're putting septic in at the same time, you're going to be making a wider path of destruction to get around where they're going to be digging this foundation.
Yeah, and
still within your limited disturbance.
Right, and planning for work in the springtime, I would rather do it in a dry winter, because springtime you don't know what you're going to get for weather, and it makes it sometimes it makes it harder to work. And if you're going to work in a harder situation, you want to keep your footprint of disturbance smaller. So yeah, we have to dig a foundation in the springtime. That's one thing, but to do this foundation and the septic, it can be challenging. We're guessing at that. It could be a dry spring. But if we can sequence it by doing the septic first, that's the best way to work on this lot.
I would think that based on what Alice has said, and I trust her, that it's not doing any additional harm to the wetlands or any harm to the wetlands, that I would be comfortable going ahead with an approval on whether it be an emergency or an administrative basis.
Well,
Again, I think as a modification, you don't need the emergency clause. To me, this would not fall under an emergency.
No, I used the wrong word, but do we need to sign off on the modification at this meeting, subject to Alice's approval of exactly where they're going to move the line of?
Well, Sharon has an opinion. We still have two other.
Yeah, no, I understand. I just want to understand what Mark has suggested and Alice is proposing, and if that's the case, then I would tend to agree that that's a reasonable way to do it.
John, Dave?
Sounds good to me. Zach, I would follow it. Yeah. So, I agree.
I'm okay. I understand where he's coming from.
I mean, Sharon, I'm willing to hear your point some more. You just kind of said something, and I maybe took over from you. which is just fine.
So
if you'd like to expound, I'm happy to hear your opinion.
Well, can you, is the normal way of doing it, it would be, at the next meeting. So that's the normal way of doing it.
For a
So,
modification,
Modifications, you guys usually can approve at the same meeting or have in the past.
You can, I don't remember how often, I guess, we do it. So, I think it's a matter of can you construct a motion that says conditioned on the acceptance of somebody else? Because that's what we're talking about. It
our
would be,
wetland enforcement officer.
yeah. I said so that's how I think that's how you'd construct it. That's what I was thinking off the top of my head.
Well, and I was thinking more along the lines of if we get a sequence of operations that meets everything that we just detailed as Alice's interpretation.
Well, you could do it another way as well. You could do it another way and maybe even make it easier for, Alice. You could conceivably just approve it with these stipulations.
Yes.
You could approve it with these stipulations. It said the construction sequence has to be updated this way, and we need the construction sequence to be delivered, within, by the 11th of January. You could just do it that way. That's
Give
another
them
way
3
to do
days
it.
to update a construction sequence.
Yeah, well, I don't know necessarily. Yeah, but I mean, I think you can make an approval. I said just conditioned on things that are happening. I mean, we do that, frequently. Say, look, we want the following X number of conditions to be documented in a plan, and we want the plan to be delivered to us within, and then we assign, we assign a time frame. So, just talking out loud and thinking about it and hearing what everybody has to say, that's, that means that it can, they can get an approval. We have the stipulations, and then we would just take a look at it. And as long as we got the stipulations that met, or got the documentation that met what we had asked for, then everybody's good.
Yep.
Sharon, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Are you I misunderstood, Sharon, are you suggesting that they then have to wait till January 11th to do the work?
No,
or
because
they just have to have it done by then?
Yeah,
But if we get the updated sequence tomorrow, they can start the next day.
No,
As long as Alice
no. If we approve it, you can approve it just with stipulations. And the stipulation has to be that they provide a construction sequence, documents,
criteria.
That,
I've got trees
the
removed.
number of trees that they are taking down, that they, I guess they don't have to relocate the silt fence, that they're going to reinstall the trees. I missed one other thing, Mark. I can't remember.
Limited disturbance with no equipment or work outside of it.
Right, and that therefore the plan gets updated, and they just provide an updated plan. So it's approved today. It's approved,
Gotcha.
and then it's just a matter of if what they provide to us on the day we identify, if that doesn't meet what we ask them to do, now there's a problem, which we would deal with.
Sounds good.
So
Mr. Flom, did I miss anything? You were taking much better notes than me. Trees
As I
removed,
put them down
number
is
of new trees.
just to note that we were taking down several small trees. I'll note the sizes of them and the condition of them. The other item was no need to put heavy equipment in the area of no disturbance. My next note said size and condition of trees to be removed, but that's part of the first one.
And then see how this incorrect.
I think I got them all.
And then to add to plant 4 replacement native trees. Native was a key word there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Native. Thank you.
Yeah, and then I don't, we
I'll
can
make
make it, I don't think it's unreasonable. Let me just ask the applicant. Is it unreasonable if we ask for that to be in our hands by the 11th of January?
That will be in your hands before Friday of this week. Good chance of it being Thursday. Where are we today? Monday, Wednesday, I'm sure. I just want to make sure the wording's right when I hand it in. I don't know whether Alice is going to have that ability to look at my wording and make sure it covers your intent. Because I think that's the big thing here.
There was a big question. She could send it to one of us to review.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because I want it right. I want everybody to be happy with it. I think we all understand what you're looking for and what we're willing to do. I mean, it's all reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll make the final acceptance, on the 11th. I'm sure, Alice will take a look at it. If she sees something, she'll obviously bring it to your attention, but we'll make the final acceptance when we see the documents. So, we'll accept them as meeting the stipulations.
Okay. Would you like me to make that motion?
Have at it.
Good luck.
No, we've done more. I have to tell you, the one for your property was way.
Oh, I can only imagine. When I was first handed this plan, I said,
So
"Oh
if
my."
you detect any interest in what's going on here, that's the reason.
No, and I respect that. I understand what went into it.
We very much respect the initial application and the approval that you gave it, and we want to stay in the same vein of thought that you did.
Yeah.
Thank you. So as always, to my fellow commissioners, as I make this motion, please chime in at the end with whatever I may have missed or messed up, and we'll amend the motion as needed. So I will make a motion that we approve 7 Oak Grove Road, number 20, W20-50, a modification of the permit W19-21, with the condition of approval that this commission receives a revised construction sequence by January 11th, 2021, to update that before any work is to commence, the number of trees removed over 2-inch caliper be detailed, that 4 or more native new trees be planted in their place, and that the silt fence is the limit of disturbance with no equipment or work to commence outside, with all the usual stipulations,
As
to be effective the day after publication.
as described in a plan, right? In a basic plan by R.J. Gallagher dated 10/28/2020.
Yes, please add that plan, 10/28/2020.
I listened very carefully to you, Mark. I think maybe one thing you want to put in there so that there's no misunderstanding as the time frame when you want the other trees planted. When you were saying it, it almost sounded like we had to plant them when we took the other ones out.
No.
I know that's not your intent.
Certainly not my intent. You would plant native trees in the season in which they should be planted.
Okay, that's all.
Certainly not in the winter.
Within 12 months of.
That's
within
great.
12
That's great.
months
That's
of
all.
receiving your CO, right?
Right. Okay.
I said commissioners could chime in, Mr. Grimes.
Excuse me. That's not something that I have aspiration for. Thank you.
So that is my motion.
I will second it.
Okay, I think you got everything. We got the date on the trees, we got the construction sequence, we got the date of the basic plan, and the date and the effective date. I think we got everything. Dave, John, anything?
No, fine.
Nope, everything's.
All right. Well, then I'll call the motion. All those in favor of the motion? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimous. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you very much.
Really
Thank
good for
you.
your accommodation.
Yes. Thank
All
you.
right.
Have a great evening.
You too.
Yep.
Thank you,
Good luck.
everyone. Much
All right,
appreciated.
so tabled items, we don't have anything. Correspondence, minutes of other boards and commissions. Review of the previous minutes.
I looked at them and was very comfortable with them, so I would make a motion to approve the minutes of November 23rd meeting as printed.
Yeah, there was
Okay.
one. Okay, John, was that your second?
Yes.
Okay,
Um,
what did I
think
miss?
there's one odd word in there, but I can live with it. So, all right, all those in favor?
What was the odd word?
Yeah,
It's all right. It's
Yeah,
okay. I can go
I
with
think
it.
I'm on the same page as you, Sharon, but I'm
Yeah, it's all right. Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Everybody was here, right?
Mhm.
All right. All right. So now, informal discussion.
I have one minor thing which I brought up to Alice, the schedule we approved for the 2021 meeting dates. The October dates made no sense. Giving us 1 week between the last meeting in September and the first meeting in October, and then almost 4 weeks between or 3 weeks between the October 2nd meeting. We just need to move the October meetings, I think.
Did I send you an email, Michael, about that? Because
You did, and you said, and we decided we would discuss it at this.
right, because there's Labor
Submissions.
Day cuts in, and then Columbus Day, I believe.
Columbus
So-
Day
Just
always
that it-
messes up.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to have two meetings 1 week apart, I don't think.
Well,
Alice, if you could send that out, I'd like her to send the calendar out so we can review it. I don't want to do it right here off the top of my head.
Okay.
I want to sit down and take a few minutes.
Yeah, I'll send it to everybody and I'll make notes
Good.
on when
Okay.
holidays are.
So what you're saying is to do it the second and fourth Monday in October is a holiday in the way.
I'd have to look at the calendar. I don't have it up right now.
Well, I'm looking at it. It's October 4th and October 18th.
Is what the
Right.
meetings
2 weeks.
say. When is, but those dates don't make a lot of sense, I don't think.
Well, I should talk to Nina is the one who figured out the calendar and there is some logic to it. If I could get that out to everybody
Sure.
for any
Take
decision that might
2
be.
weeks.
My humble opinion, let's wait. If whatever we have is whatever we have. Let's
Yeah.
just wait until September.
Okay.
That's my opinion. Because who knows?
Or at
Who
least
knows what the future will bring?
Good point.
Yeah, so that would be my opinion. I think we have what we have. When we get a little bit closer, we may know whatever it is that we know. If it's prudent to cancel one, then we'll cancel one. If we have to shift it around, we'll shift it around.
Okay.
That's my 2 cents.
I was just so excited to figure out how to get my calendar on my cell phone to automatically put in
I'm
every
messing you up.
third Friday or
Michael, I'll drop my cell phone off to you and you can have at it.
So I have been spending years just putting everyone in individually.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for Michael. Thank for that. Repairing buffers, again, that is still on my list of things to do. I said I've been slammed with work. I'm also, I don't think, Michael, I think the other thing I said I would do is I'd write a letter to the selectmen and make note, sort of augment their, their whatever that was, newsletter. I don't know if that's the right term, but it's the newsletter that talked about the wetlands creation, talk about the, changing the footprint to not have the wetlands destruction. That's also on my list of things to do.
Yeah, we talked about it. I thought you were going to propose a note.
Yeah, I was going to write a letter and I just haven't done it yet.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. No, I'm behind. So I'm just acknowledging that I'm behind. We'll take volunteers. Everybody wants to pick it up, but I did agree to do it. I just haven't done it. And then I'm trying to remember the road maintenance. Is that also on my list of things to do?
Well, no, it looks like we got a response from Mr. Doctor. Is that how he pronounces it? Doctor?
Yeah.
That when we sort of said, hey, we think that there is something you may be able to do, or can you do something to reduce the amount of salt?
To be clear, Mr. Neustadt, I did not say I think they are doing something. I said someone is suggesting that they are doing something, higher levels of salt.
Well,
on the roads.
Yeah, I guess my thought was his response was, yeah, we may be putting too much salt on the road, but all these other people are doing get things as well. There are all these other places the salt is coming from.
I read
Agreed,
that.
but I would think that if there is anything that our road maintenance department can do to reduce the impact that they're having, that's what we're looking for. You follow me?
I do. I appreciate, and Alice, if you could pass along my personal appreciation to Mr. Doctor and the crews, that they do calibrate their equipment and they have a chart, I guess, that they follow, or a recommendation that they follow as to how much they put down. Because again, this is a safety versus wetlands issue. And obviously, as wetlands people, we wouldn't want to put any salt on the road. But that's not realistic, and that would open the town up to crash lawsuits and whatever. So I'm glad that there's at least a plan. I'm not surprised. And I'm glad to see that they have their stuff calibrated. So they're taking something into consideration at least. They're not just dumping salt on the road haphazardly. That's what I get out of it.
Would you agree that it might, and I see that, and I appreciate that as well. But I guess my question would be, can it be looked at again? Is this really the best we can do? Or is there any way, while maintaining safety, we can still reduce the amount of salt that is put on the roads that wind, or even if it's not, some way to reduce the amount of salt that's put on the roads, finding its way into our water supply, into our wetlands? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a engineer. I would just ask if there's something being done in other communities where they found a better answer.
Well, the head of public works said that every other town in Connecticut does the same thing that we do.
Okay. Well, the answer to my question may simply be no. I just,
yeah, I don't know who they asked. Yeah,
it was worth asking.
Don't they use beet juice on the highways now?
I wish it were beet juice.
Well, that gets on your windshield, it means like slime. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I've asked a few different places to find out what the formula for that chemical application is, and they will not give it to me.
I heard beet juice, but that doesn't.
If it were beet juice, they would say it's beet juice.
Oh, okay.
But they're able to put it on a road up to 24 hours before it's needed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's not beet juice. I don't know what that's going to do to us all in the future, but
there's something called de-icing fluid. I don't know what it is. It's put on airplanes before they take off in an ice storm. I have no idea if that's something that would have any, and would do more damage to the wetlands or the water supply, or if it can be put on the roads, or is it probably exorbitantly expensive?
no idea.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. This is a.
I had asked the question, so I appreciate that Mr. Doctor responded, and that at least it's a consideration. You know, they're not, and I would have expected nothing less.
Thursday, we get first-hand inspection of what they're putting down now, because we're gonna have 10 to 20 inches of snow.
I don't know.
Well, I'm with you, Mark. I appreciate what we got. I don't know how to, at this juncture, at this point, I don't really know how to move it forward. It's a very difficult problem.
Well, he does list 5 other sources of salt.
Yeah.
In groundwater, and are there any of those that we could approach? I mean, or do anything about?
Yeah, well, and I appreciate that. I think what I understood our interest was, I said the salt just sort of, so many of the roads in Brookfield either run right next to, or some of them run through, wetlands. So that salt that gets on the road goes, right into, straight into the wetlands. And which then can migrate, hypothetically, into wells. I don't know.
Well, don't forget, we're still dealing with public safety. We have to weigh that also.
Yeah. I read an interesting, kind of an aside, but I read it was an interesting article in the paper. It was talking about fish in the Puget Sound area of Washington. Find a number of streams, because these fish go up into these freshwater streams to spawn. They were finding a lot of them were dying. So the University of Washington did a study.
Mm-hmm.
They found that what was killing the fish, and you'll find the article if you just do a search on fish killing and the word tires.
Yeah, I read that.
Did you see that? There's tire dust. There's an antioxidant. They say in tires, which just
Wears
hand it off on the road. All that stuff ends up a lot of places, and in particular in Washington, was ending up in the creeks, and it's killing the fish.
Yeah, I think it was a chemical they started using with the.
There's a nasty problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if anybody's interested in it, like I said, just do a search on fish or salmon. This study was for salmon, salmon killing, and the word tires, and you'll find a lot of references to it. So I don't know how do you solve that problem?
We are certainly killing our own planet. That's for sure.
Yep.
Different material for tires, I guess.
I saw another bit of news today. I forget exactly where, but there's so much plastic in the water that we are each ingesting about 1 credit card's worth of plastic every month.
Every what?
Month?
I don't doubt it.
Into our body that's coming in our drinking water.
There's something to keep you up nights.
It's a good thing I'm going to bed soon.
Yeah. Oh, well, that was a wonderful discussion, you guys.
We laugh, but it's not.
Yeah, we laugh and then we cry.
Yeah.
Replace some boning fluid.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? I said I have these things written down still on my to-do list, so I do intend to get to them.
I am good.
Anything else, anybody? If not, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
All right. Dave made the motion. Mark seconded it. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, everybody.
See you January 11th. Have a wonderful holiday season, everybody.
Maybe by spring we'll be.
Yeah, for whatever. This is